Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Professor Ipshita Bansal from BPS Women's University, Sonipat, Haryana. Today we will be discussing about the module Basis for Pay, Internal and External Equity of the paper Strategic Human Resource Management. By the end of this module, students will be able to understand and identify the basis for pay, outline equity, understand the importance of internal equity and external equity, various theories involved, role of pay equity in employee satisfaction, and basis for pay, internal and external equity. Compensation is an important human resource element for any organization. The design of compensation becomes even more important when we expect high performance from our employees. There are different strategies used while designing a compensation plan for employees. These include pay for performance, long and short term benefits, etc. These advanced and sophisticated compensation plans include the alignment of compensation and the business strategies of the organization as well. So, what are the aims of compensation? Employees are paid for the efforts they put in the job. The contractual agreement between an employer and an employee focuses to a large extent on compensation. It serves its purpose in motivating and influencing employees' attitude and behavior. Different elements of compensation such as pay for performance, employee benefits and other best practices, compensation is designed in such a manner that not only employees' benefits are protected, but organization also achieve the desired performance. As per Barr, compensation can contribute to the effectiveness of the organization. The reward can help in attracting the best human assets to the firm. The reward system can help in retaining the top talent. It can be a source for getting motivated and effective performance from his employees. So, we can see in the picture that compensation achieves the objectives of motivation, reward and retention. The other aim of compensation is to control the labor costs of the organization while maintaining the efficiency. In this way, the organization can also monitor the added value of an individual employee to some extent. First, one has to understand as to what makes an employee satisfied with a particular type of pay package. Setting objectives is the first issue in a strategic pay decision. Individuals differ in a way how they conceptualize pay satisfaction. As per the equity theory, pay satisfaction is a function of comparisons of individuals' input-outcome ratio with his or her perceptions about the input-outcome relations of referent other. Internal alignment addresses the issues and relationships inside the organization. The relationships form a pay structure that should support the organization strategy, workflow, motivate behavior towards organization objectives. Thus, internal alignment, often called internal equity, which refers to the pay relationship among different jobs or skills and competencies, are considered within a single organization, whereas pay structure refers to the array of pay rates for different work or skills within a single organization. Aims of compensation: support to the organization strategy. In a job family, all the levels, whether these are 6 or 7, should support company's strategy of researching, designing and developing advanced technology systems. An example as shared in engineering structure of Lockheed Martin is given. Entry: for engineer, limited use of basic principles and concepts, develop solutions to limited problems, closely supervised. Senior engineer, full use of standard principles and concepts, provides solution to a variety of problems under general supervision. Systems engineer, wide applications of principles and concepts plus working knowledge of other related disciplines, provides solution to a wide variety of difficult problems. Solutions are imaginative, thorough and practicable, works under only very general direction, so on and so forth. Second aim of compensation is supports to workflow. It refers to the process by which goods and services are delivered to the customer. The pay structure ought to support the efficient flow of that work and the design of the organization. For example, financial advice of firm is in the US traditionally offered investment advice and products through client centers. At Merrill Lynch, customer associates used to take calls from clients or new purchasing a stock, mutual fund or certificate of deposit. The customer associate passed the information on to an FA who was legally certified to make the purchase. No one at Merrill Lynch owned a client. Personal long-term relationships were not emphasized. Another aim of compensation is it motivates behavior. Internal pay structures are the part of the network of returns as discussed earlier. Pay is increased to get assured success for more challenging roles. Employees then become ready to bear greater or more challenging responsibilities as employees move up in the structure. The challenges here are to design structures that will help in engaging people to help in achieving organizational objectives. Financial advisors at Merrill Lynch also help with specific needs of their clients by building long-term relationships. Internal structures vary among different organizations. Factors influence in shaping internal structure. There are different factors that influence the internal structure in the organization. So, what are the factors that influence internal structure in organization? These factors are economic structure, culture and customers, government policies and external stakeholders. Economic structures. Economic market forces influence pay structures. Adam Smith also supported the view in this direction. He was the pioneer to ascribe both an exchange value and a use value to human resources, but he was faulted the new technologies associated with the Industrial Revolution for increasing the use of value of labor without a corresponding increase in exchange value, that is higher wages. Karl Marx said that employees unfairly pocketed the surplus value created by the difference between use and exchange value. He urged workers to overthrow capitalistic systems, to become owners of the assets themselves and reap the full benefits and value of their labor. Government policies. In United States, equal employment legislation forbids pay systems that discriminates on the basis of gender, race, religion or national origin. The same is the case with India also. The Equal Pay Act and the Civil Rights Act in US requires equal pay for equal work. The same is prevalent in India also through enactment of various legislations for this purpose. An internal structure may contain any number of levels with differentials of any size, as long as the criteria for setting them are not gender, race, religion or national origin. External stakeholders. Unions, stockholders, and political groups have stakes as how internal pay structures are determined. Unions are the most obvious case in this regard. Unions seek smaller pay differentials among jobs and seniority. Stockholders are also interested in the differences between what executives make in comparison to others in the organization. Estimates vary the way the data are used. If we talk about the pay structure of CEOs, the pay structure vary in the sense it is different from 110 times to sometimes it is even 500 times different. Culture and customer. An academic definition of culture is the mental programming for processing information that people share in common. Shared mindsets may judge that size in pay differentials for processing information is fair. In 14th century, Christian church endorsed a just wage doctrine which supported the existing class structure. The doctrine was an effort to end the economic and social chaos resulting from the death of one-third of the population from plague. The resulting shortage of labor gave power to people to demand higher wages. Thus, the market forces as skill shortage, which were explicitly denied earlier, were found appropriate to determine pay structure. Even today, these factors continue to influence the decision of a pay structure. For example, in Japan, experience is given high importance in determining the pay. Organization strategy. If pay structures are aligned with the strategy of the organization, then they will support the achievement of organizational success. Human capital policies. In the current scenario, employees with more skill and experience demand more pay. The policy of the organization also influence the decision as to how much should be paid. In a hierarchical organization, it is found that there is a variation in terms of pay as there are more levels. In this case, employees are offered more promotions and frequent promotions give satisfaction and motivation to employees in general. International labor market. International labor market comprises both external as well as internal factors, which refers to the rules or policies of the organization. Internal factors consist of employee competitiveness, labor market demand information, and job seeking intensity. Employers' flexibility in terms of workplace and contract condition. External factor consists of structural changes of labor resources, countries' economic situations such as GDP, unemployment rate, and inflation. Basis for pay. Tasks and responsibilities are decided based on job description, which is a written summary of what is expected from that employee. A job definition and the job title, a job interview that states the mission of the job and the products and services produced by the employee. The primary tasks involved in the job, a list of equipment, machines and tools used, raw materials, goods, data or other materials used in the job, the processes used to transform materials into products and services, guidelines and controls that limit the discretion of the worker such as supervisor, required knowledge, skills, abilities and other characteristics, a description of the work context such as working conditions, a statement of the qualification required such as license or a level of education. How employees are paid? One way is that employees are paid based on individual skills and knowledge as determined by the level of education, experience work sample, and psychological tests. Methods to pay for employees: pay for position, pay for person, and pay for performance. Pay for position. Develop an equitable grading structure, create a reference salary structure, and leverage compensation costs with market survey information. So, we should have one salary per grade. Pay for person. Here, determine competency requirements and employee capabilities. Pay individuals based on their competency match with the position. Identify and pay market premium for competencies in short supply in the market. This becomes clear from the diagram. Pay for performance. Design annual bonus and incentive plans that motivate staff. Shift from merit salary increases to variable pay. Create long-term reward plans, stock options, deferred compensation, etc. Here we can see in the diagram how salary is fixed as per the performance. There are various theories which are associated with compensation: equity theory, expectancy theory, reinforcement theory, agency theory, and tournament theory. Equity theory. This theory was propounded by Adam in 1965. Equity theory proposes that employees assess their contribution towards the organization and also expect that they should get rewards in return of their efforts. Their attitude and behavior is also influenced by this. As per Adam, employees also do social comparisons that include colleagues, industry standards, perceptions, etc. So, the diagram shows that how employees want to balance the input and the output. In the inputs, the employee will ask what I put into my job: time, effort, ability, loyalty, tolerance, flexibility, integrity, commitment, reliability, heart and soul, personal sacrifice, etc. And what I got as outputs: pay bonus, perks, benefits, security, recognition, interest, development, reputation, praise, responsibility, enjoyment. People become demotivated and reduce input and or seek change or improvement whenever they feel their inputs are not being fairly rewarded by outputs. Fairness is based on perceived market norms. Equity theory. Equity theory proposes that employees assess their contribution towards the organization and also expect that they should get rewards in return of their efforts. Their attitude and behavior is also influenced by this. As per Adam, employees also do social comparisons that include colleagues, industry standards, perceptions, etc. Perceptions play an important role as it influences the behavior of employees based on their perception whether they are underpaid or overpaid against their efforts and qualifications. Equitable payments results in pay satisfaction and avoid negative emotions. Employees judge fairness by multiple reasons and factors for comparison. Employees compare the organization's pay structure in multiple ways, comparing the job similar to their organization, which is internal alignment, comparing their jobs to others at the same employer, internal alignment, and comparing their jobs pay against external pay levels, which is external competitiveness. Here we see the types of equity: internal equity, external equity, and individual equity. Inputs and outputs have to be balanced as shown in the diagram. Expectancy theory. This is another key theory in connection to pay. The expectancy theory says that representatives will put in as much work as they hope to get. At the end of the day, if the worker sees they will be paid positively, they will work to accomplish the results. On the off chance that they trust the prices don't equivalent the measure of exertion, they may not function as hard. Reinforcement theory. Reinforcement theory, propounded by Edward L. Thorndike, says that if superior performance is trailed by some reward, that desired conduct will probably happen later on. In like manner, if elite isn't trailed by a reward, it is more improbable the superior will happen later on. Bonus and commission plans should be utilized to drive desired behavior and act as a reward for the desired behavior, as the reinforcement theory such states. So, what are the factors that influence in shaping an internal structure? First, perception of fairness. Organizational culture is an important strategic factor to business success. If you want to develop and maintain a culture of fairness, you need to strongly factor in internal equity. If employees look at others in similar jobs and see equal pay, they will likely to feel like the organization and its leaders are fair. When employees respect you as a fair leader, the chances that they listen to your direction and guidance towards their work is greater. Second is reduced exposure to discrimination. While the market-based approach may attract the most talented workers, an emphasis on internal equity offers better protection against discrimination lawsuits. Third is consistent standards. When the employers pay employees on a consistent scale, the employers have the opportunity to maintain consistent performance standards. When conducting a job analysis and developing a description, employers establish the abilities, duties and responsibilities required for a position that earns a certain amount of pay. If one employee clearly falls short of the standards and protection of colleagues, employers have more tangible justification for a demotion or termination. Next is team structure. Internal equity is especially important in an organization built on team structure. Members of a work team can more easily collaborate when they earn similar compensation as peers. As a leader in a market-based pay plan, employers might hear an employee say something like, "You can't expect as much from me as you do, since he makes more money." Equitable compensation protects against a natural barrier that can impede cohesiveness in a work team. Next is external equity. External equity is understood when employees of one organization feel that whatever they are paid in their own organization is comparable with whatever is paid to other organizations with similar knowledge, skills and capabilities. For example, when a sales manager feels that what he is paid in his organization is as good as it is paid in other organization, then there exists external equity. Next is internal equity. In the process of understanding different equities, internal equity also play an important role. Internal equity is situation that results when people feel that performance fairly determines the pay for each individual with a certain job, or that relative difficulty results in appropriate differences in pay rates between jobs. Worker dissatisfaction may arise when internal equity principles aren't met. Individual equity. It exists when an employee perceives that he or she is paid as per his knowledge. skills, and abilities. The individual performance is considered and given adequate weightage. The individual equity is thus different from internal equity. Here, the employee feels that he should be identified as an individual and his potential and performance levels should be taken care of. Pay differential among employees at different levels or at similar type of work may be based on experience or sometimes on performance. Let's now summarize what we have studied in this module. Organization strategy along with the strategy adopted by an organization is discussed in detail. Different types of equities such as internal equity, external equity and individual equity were also explained in a lot of detail. Equity theory, expectancy theory and reinforcement theories were also explained. Thank you.